my gosh.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting adventure on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight has been an interesting night. We actually were backstage talking for about an hour because we got confused by the time change and just started talking, and before we knew it was actually showtime. And I bring this up because Rainbow Flame nicely said at 6 p.m. tonight. Too bad I can't get on at that time. Good luck to Michael and Marcia. Or is it Marcia or
Marcia. It's
Marcia?
spelled Marcia, but it's pronounced Marcia.
Okay. And so, the time is a funny thing. And so we've been laughing and kind of going over like where we're going to go tonight. So all I can say is you all are in for a huge treat. This guest is so amazing, and we can go on so many different tangents. And I know how you all love when I go on tangents on this show. So I guarantee you there's going to be probably at least 3 or 4 tonight. And so, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my amazing guest because if I tried to summate her, God, I got confused because I never used the word summate. I'm like, I don't even know where that came from. But I'm like, what? Summarize is where I was trying to go, her bio. I couldn't do it justice, so I'm going to hand it off to my amazing guest, the one, the only experiencer extraordinaire and knowledge extraordinaire, Marcia Sava.
It never fails to trip me out when people introduce me like that because I just don't see myself like that at all. It's funny. Uh, uh, yeah, no. If you guys don't know me, I'm just gonna give a quick background, but not a full background because I haven't even gotten that out yet. It's too long. There's way too much that happened to even begin. I'm writing books about it. It's not a book, it is series of the craziness that's been going on in my life for the past 4 years. Um, but anyway, um, it started off. Um, I met Chris Moore. Um, if you don't know him, we are like this. We're literally the same energy. Um, we are twin flames. I didn't even believe in that. What that means literally is like you're connected on up, like your energy connects. So, I started noticing a long time ago when I would follow, I do energy work. I'm a Reiki Karuna key master, and I had a lot of background in demonology. And what else? Come to find out, I'm a shaman. Had no idea. Um, but what happened is I met Chris Moore. He is my twin flame. I didn't believe in that. I just knew we had a really bizarre connection. So we started really realizing how weird it was when we started realizing we're very telepathic, like extremely telepathic. So, with each other. So, what really made it clear to me how much so was one time when I was at work and he was at home, and I knew he had to go somewhere at a specific time, and couldn't get him to wake up by the phone. And I said, I think I can do it. So I put in loud music in my ears and I started focusing on him, and I said, wake up, as loud as I could mentally into his head. And then he calls me and he's like, um, did you, is there something going on? Did you need me? And I was like, yeah. I told him what I did. And he was out of breath. He's like, I woke up in a panic because he heard that. And I realized that I could speak to him mentally, telepathically, like crazy stuff I never thought was possible. So, he's extremely psychic. He has every ability I've ever tested, which is a lot. I have a lot of knowledge on anything you name. I spent oh my God, I've spent so many years just researching everything to death. Like, you have no idea. So I knew what to test and how to test many, many different abilities. He had everything, and he lit mine up. And through our connection that we have, and believe me, guys, if y'all think it's easy to meet your twin flame, they will challenge everything. Every trauma you've ever had times 100. So it can be extremely rewarding, and you will grow extremely spiritually fast, like pedal to the metal. However, every major trauma is going to get ignited. They're your mirror. You're going to mirror it all back to you. And if you don't fix it, you're going to really, really hurt each other. So it is not all it's cracked up to be. We have to watch everything we do, every thought we think, every emotion we have, every psychic, our psychic defense. Stay on top of that really hard. Um, uh, Even physically, we feel each other physically. So, for instance, he used to get kidney stones real bad. I would know when he was going to pass them. I knew right when he would pass them. I would feel them as though I had them myself. And I've never had kidney stones or anything of that nature. But I'm going to tell you what, I felt them. And I feel everything he feels. And he had a lot of issues. And he would get a lot of psychic attack, a lot of entities, lots of entities and attacks, not only because he's a lighthouse and he's extremely powerful, but because of, rituals, come to find out. So, I spent a lot of years trying to figure out what was going on, and I just recently unhooked everything. But that process was, he and I, we started realizing we had some really weird stuff going on. So, he's got a headache, I got a stomach ache. He walks in that door and we're hanging around each other for a minute. We've all of a sudden both got the headache and the stomach ache. And what's really crazy about that, I was telling somebody tonight, what's really crazy about that is he can have, like, let's say I have a headache, but he picked up on it. So that headache that he picked up on, he empath off of me. I can go take Advil and get rid of my headache, but it won't get rid of the headache that he empathed off of me. He can take Advil and it won't get rid of it. But the person who had it originally can get rid of it. Do you understand what I mean? It's bizarre. There's some weird stuff. And so physically, whatever he's got going on, I got going on, he feels mine more than I do his, because I was able to block that pretty early on because of the physical suffering he was going through. I had to block it. It was awful. And I have tried to block the mental and emotional connection, and I can't block that out nearly as well as the physical. We're so connected, it's bizarre. We even, like, if I had smoked a joint, let's say, he would pick up on that as though he smoked it. He will get high as though he smoked it. And I used to watch him and be like, what is going on? Because his behavior would go from just normal to all of a sudden he's paranoid in the corner, which is what weed does to him. He'd be paranoid in the corner like this. And I was like, what is going on with this guy? Does he have, like, multiple personalities? Come to find out, he was empathing my high as though he smoked it, like that strong. Like, it was crazy. And so, I have to really watch what I do around him to not impact him negatively, and vice versa. But it's crazy how how much we empath off each other. It's not even like empathing. It's like when he had pancreatitis that almost killed him, I ended up with pancreas problems at the exact same time. And that stomach acid that accompanied it, both of us were hurling constantly from stomach acid, and it just hit us both at the same time. We woke up to do a podcast with Rob one day, Rob Khalil, on the Typical Skeptical podcast, and he had a puffed up eye, and I had a puffed up eye. Same exact day at the exact same time, came out of nowhere. It's stuff like that. It's crazy. Like our weird connection. It's like one body. So anyway, that's how everything began, and I got to know Chris. And
So I have a curious question. You say you can block a lot of things, but some things are harder to block. How do you go about blocking so that you don't take stuff on?
Okay, I have a lot of blocking techniques specifically for this cord. So you have to, verify exactly what you want to block, and then I'll tell you anyway. I might go about that, but for this specifically, it was our cord. It would just travel up the cord. So when he gets attacked by entities, that entity travels up the cord and attacks me too. And so I'm fighting it off me and him at the same time. And I've had years of that battling by myself. And so I got really strong in it. I'm really good at it. And so that's part of what my work entails now. So anyway, I got really good at being oppressed and really turning the tables and just like bow. Like I can sling those ties back really good, really hard, and work myself out of it really quick now, because I've had to do it to me and Chris at the same time for years. And I'm telling you, we were in danger of becoming possessed like you wouldn't believe every time you turn around. Until I learned how to battle it off of both of us. Because like I said, doesn't even matter if he's on the other side of the country. If he's going through it, I'm feeling it. So I have to address that.
Yeah, and so
I forgot to answer your question.
Yeah, so to narrow it down is like you were saying, because there's so many. If you come across someone who says, these entities or this energy, keeps attaching to me and draining me, what do you suggest to help them to block and prevent them from returning once cleared off, and how do you clear it off?
Yeah, okay. Good question. Um, what we've learned, we've tried everything under the sun. We had to work really, really hard to get Chris's abductions and all that attacks to stop. And I'm telling you, it was bad. So, what we learned is number one is just to call on source, but it's not just calling on source. You're literally lining up with the frequency of the true God source, which is outside of this distortion. We're in a distortion and an energy drainage system. And if you listen to the apocryphal books, and this is what I call on it, it works. So they're right. It explains that this creation that we're in, the simulation, is a distortion. It's not. It's an energy drainage system, and that our true home is outside of here, and where the true light is. So, I learned to call in that true God source energy from outside this distortion. And so I would say something like this, because it's not just that I call it in, it's that I line up with the frequency of it and become it, and then radiate it out through me, and then command things in a very specific way and say things in a very specific way. So an example of that would be, uh, okay, we're wanting to clear entities off of someone. So that would be, I would line up with that energy. I would call it from outside of this distortion. I would bring it down through my crown, pushing all things dense and heavy and dark energies, entities out through my body and down, pushing, just keep pushing and pushing it out of my feet until I get it all the way out of my feet and it feels clear. Once it feels clear, I radiate that out from my body. So once that clears me, that is true God source energy. And when you're tapped into true God source energy, like I've been trying to say on some of these podcasts, even your posture changes. You will find your body sitting straight up as you think about it, and you pull that in from what I'm talking about, and you run it down through your crown, down through your feet. As you line up with that, your posture changes. Things in your body change. I have really bizarre things happen with me because I do get in so deep. I have really bizarre physical changes that happen, but that is definitely a major sign for me. If I'm still slouched over, I'm not in there. I know that I need to be sitting up like this when I'm really command from that space. So you line up with that frequency and you say, I speak not to the source, but as the source of all sources. I am not the spark, but the whole flame. That was channeled to me, and that's great. It means I am not the guard spark, even as it explains in the apocryphal books. I am the whole flame. I am source. I radiate from that center. We are the creators of our reality. Um, you know, like I said, quantum physics, science, it all backs that up. That's not just me spitting out a bunch of hooey pooey. That is the truth, and that is completely tested and verified by science. And you know, my own experiences too. So as I started lining up with this, and I really approached a place after fighting for Chris's life and battling these entities so hard for so long, I got to a point where I thought they are going to destroy everything I ever loved for the rest of my life. And they've been doing nothing but that. And I can't anchor into anything without it being ripped from me. So at this point in time, I got nothing left, but I'm going to come out swinging. I'm going to come out fighting. I am going to take you assholes down. And when I come out from that, in that mind space of I'm done, I'm coming for you, here I come. When I got like that, and that pointed and that focused, I learned something. I was in my power in a place where they couldn't touch me and they scattered like roaches. And I watched this time and time again with us. And I said, okay, so we are creating our own reality. And the problem is we are not giving it enough time, energy, and focus to create it solidly in the 3D. But anyway, I veer off. But to get back to what you were saying, so I would say I'm not the spark, but the whole flame. So I speak not to the source, but as the source of all sources. I'm not the spark, but the whole flame. I am source. And I command from that center. And as I said, radiate that through you. Feel it, line up with it, reverberate it in your body, embody it. Know you are creating your reality at all times. And then once you line up with it, from there you command. I command the permanent and complete dissolution of all dark energies and entities. And there's where you've got to be very specific. Because, like, for instance, if you have benevolent beings aiding you, and this includes source, if you are not specific in what you anchor it to, it will not impede on your journey because they follow the laws, which is to honor and respect your journey. Okay, so they're not, you have to be extremely specific. So you would start naming, I need this dark energies and entities dissolved from inside of me, around me, in my energy fields, in my aura, in my chakras. A lot of the rituals are anchored in the chakras and energy centers, alpha and omega energy centers, like this. My property, I run it out through my house, I anchor source permanently and completely. This is one I keep repeating, permanently and completely into my home, my cars. And I do this, I do it through visualization, but this is things people need to be saying to clear these dark things. And when you anchor source into your home or your bed, you want to anchor it into your bed permanently, because your bed is where you're the most vulnerable. That's where everybody's getting attacked. If you anchor source permanently into your bed, it will go into your bed and it will protect you. If you have nothing else, you can simply say this, but be very specific. I anchor it into my car. I anchor it permanently and completely. Keep expanding out. I anchor into every time stream, galaxy, and universe. This is where you start finding these little hidden loopholes. So it'll be, okay, you anchored it around you, and you anchored it into your home and into your property, and da-da-da-da-da. But you forgot to anchor it into your dreamscape. That's a big one I've been doing lately. I anchor it permanently and completely into my dreamscape, transmuting all dark energies and entities back into pure God source energy. I ask for the assistance of all benevolence to aid and assist me in healing, guidance, protection, upgrades, and in any other way you can assist me. You have to be so detailed when you ask for help and when you anchor things in like this. And so what I do, my process is digging around and feeling around for the hooks into you. So what I do is most of the people, pretty much almost everybody that's come to me has been SSP. But I also have a close friend that she's more like just abductions, like alien abductions. I have a lot of experience with that too, and stuff that I've learned with that too. So, but anyway, I digress. But I forgot what the hell I was talking about. I do this sometimes. That's how you would anchor it, and you need to be very, very specific. So root around at the hooks. So I would start saying, I disconnect this ritual, and then see if I pick up on any indications that person had that laid down, I can just kind of root around at some things and kind of feel or just talk to them and then ask them, how'd that make you feel when I said such and such? And then that can tell me a lot, because if there's an entity or something in them, it reacts. And I'll be like, did you get anxious when I said that? Okay, that's what I was looking for. That's an entity. This is how I do. But there's a lot of things can be at play with people. There's so much stuff that can be at play with people. So I'm finding, I think a lot more people have these rituals laid down on them than they think. That anchor in something called the tree of death. This is what's at the base of all the SSP, My Labs, abductees, you name it, any of the dark programs. They anchor something into you called the tree of death, which is it's an anchoring of these core stronghold demons and all this programming. There's implants, there's trauma rituals. It's crazy. So once I start figuring out how to unhook that stuff and then work with the integrating the altars back, when you're in the SSP, I don't know if your audience knows all this, but when you're in the SSP in these different programs, they splice you off. So what they do is they identify the soul coming in that they want for genetics or for just the soul's frequency or whatever. And they identify it, and then they try, they start targeting it in the womb. They start doing rituals, and they start torturing it in the womb and cause it to splice off into two fragments of consciousness. And then that is called your twin. That twin, which is half your consciousness, they take it over here. They keep you over here, and they take that and they animate a body with it. They put it in a clone body or whatever, and they animate that, and then into that they anchor all the rituals, and then and then from there they splice off more and more and more and more, so you can be spliced off like a million times. A lot of this has been relatively new to me too. I didn't know everything that was going on. I just recently got Chris's altar integrated. I thought it had been months and months, and I went back and looked back on Facebook. I've only been public 3 months. Shocked me to death, because that means I only got Mike integrated maybe 4 ago. That was his assassin altar that kept popping through. Every time you turn around, he kept popping through. And I learned something tonight. This is a new piece of information to those people that are following my work. And please, to your audience, if y'all don't know what I'm doing, it's a good idea to go back through my podcast, because I can't keep saying the same story over and over. And I haven't done this channel before, but not my whole story. A lot of my story is out there in podcasts already. And I have a YouTube channel, and I have each podcast is building on the story. So I can't keep saying the same stuff, and I've never even gotten to certain things. So this is why I'm doing it this way. I'm giving different information in each podcast. It's really important. But I'm trying to give them a background, because they're not going to understand if I don't. So anyway, I know that's a lot of information. It kind of works that way. You have to be very, very detailed about what you're targeting and how you anchor things in. So when I work on these people with these rituals, it would be things like I anchor it after we disconnect everything. You will anchor source into, or as you're disconnecting the rituals, you anchor source into the organs that contain curses to each of the programs. And if something gets triggered, it can cause, and that's what was happening with Chris. As we kept trying to help him and improve him, his body started fighting back all the curses that they had laid down on all of his organs. And every single organ they hit, every single one, from the lungs to the heart to the kidneys to the liver to the pancreas to the gallbladder to the sexual organs, every organ they hit, everyone. It was terrible. and they had him in a squeeze and they were killing him. And this is, I went on a search for answers for him. They were trying to kill him. I mean, and it was bad. We had to fight for his life. I'm telling you, mentally, physically, and emotionally, every day, every moment mattered to that man making it. Every interaction that we had, if it was even slightly off, could catapult him into the worst day that turned into the worst month, that turned into all this hell, because he's a super fast manifester. I've never met anybody that can manifest like this man. It would blow your mind how fast this man can manifest big stuff. So yeah, so I had to watch everything. But so there's a kind of a long answer to your question, because it depends on what you're targeting as to how you need to anchor. You know, like I said, we would anchor source into each organ and disconnect the triggers. But it depends on what you got going on, and you have no idea what you got going on until I start rooting around, and then you'd be amazed. What, you know, we didn't even know. We just found out that Bob was in the SSP and he had been remote viewed and everything. No one ever saw it, but someone that I've been communicating with saw it, just very slightly, but saw it. And I was like, oh my God. And I had to go undo all of him, oh Lord. So yeah, it's been nuts. So you don't know what's going on. A lot of people don't know what's going on because this stuff is super deep. There's a lot going on across all of mankind. And then there's a lot going on with individuals that they don't know that they have going on, because every memory that they have is shoved in the subconscious so far back that their body's reacting, but mentally they don't know where it's coming from. They can't remember. So if people, they can anchor source in, like I just explained, the way I told you to clear dark energies and entities. However, if you have these hooks, which almost everybody does, you it's only going to go so far. You're going to feel it, but you're still going to feel a lot going on, and maybe even fighting you, because people that like SSP people and stuff, they have the entities that are attached to them fighting you the whole time, trying to access them. And then they also have implants coming through. They have alters coming through who have a lot of damage and may want to insult you, fight you. I've had people that had alters that hated me, and that's because of what I target. I don't know any other reason they would hate me, but a lot of people have avoided me for a long time because of things I target. I've been targeting energies and entities for before I met Chris, and I could see them, and I would always go to try to help somebody get rid of them. So they've been running from me for a long time. And I told him one of the last podcasts, I said, the first time Chris tried to come on this property, I told him, I said, you're going to read that protection right there before you come on this property. And because I was big on protection even before that. And I had him trying to read it, and he choked on a piece of chicken and had to be rushed to the emergency room and almost died. And that was him getting attacked by, this is how this types of attacks will happen to these kind of people, because they can really literally control them in many ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in any way you can think of, or control people around them to cause problems too. There's a lot of that. I've learned how all that works too. So
I'm kind of curious, dealing with, SSP, and this may translate into other avenues, but so a common thing in the SSP is like everybody wants to meet their twin, like that they operated with, their partner, so to speak. And so I've noticed a common thread of, people saying, well, when my partner is sick, I'm sick. I can feel what my partner feels. I can, you know, understand, on a deeper level. And all of that, sounds great and, really cool. But at the same time, though, if someone, let's say tries to go after me and can't get to me or my twin, they go towards somebody else. So, how do we prevent
Good
someone
question.
from being able to go after somebody else
Good
to
question.
get to us?
Yeah, I have the answer for you. I've had to learn all this too. So yeah, we were dealing with that, and we still deal with that. Yeah, he got a little taste of that this morning, actually. Um, when Chris goes to work, full on attack, boy. So the people at that he's over, he's a he's a plant manager. People he's over, uh, they're just f you this that riled up. The people the owners, they'll be riled up and rah on it, and he'll let me know, and I'll say, well, I protect him before he goes in now. Like I already cover it as he's heading out. I'm on it. I do that every morning. I wake up at 4:30 every morning to do that. And if you guys are being heavily targeted, this is the kind of stuff you're gonna have to do. So on his way, I start right away. I have a protocol that I have given on other podcasts and expanded on. I have, and you can link my YouTube channel to the bottom of this or whatever, where people can go to that and find my podcast. And it is the second one I did with Christy Campbell. Um, it's called Shaman. Marcia Sava gives us the keys to breaking SSP, my lab, blah, blah, blah. I'm explaining this protocol exactly. So what this is a visualization. It's a vortex that I do. I bring down that monad energy through me and around me. I clear first, like I told you, run it through my crown, down through my feet, out through the property. I always encompass my property first. I'm going to give you a quick rundown on it because I give it in great detail in other podcasts. So if you guys want to learn this and much other stuff, go to my other podcasts, and each podcast has different information. So, follow it, follow the journey through there, and you'll get more of the story because it is way too much to even think about. I've done almost 20 podcasts, or I will be when some of this gets edited, and I ain't even got a fraction of what I got to say out and what I learned. But anyway, I do this vortex, and I run it like a tornado in front of me, and I clear the path. So I'm running it in front of Chris and around Chris, and I'm clearing the path. So what that means is when I run it up into his job, I visualize the people at his job, and I visualize, and my visualization and my focus has gotten so laser pointed that it clears it clears whatever, especially if I use the emotions, which that's something else you have to y'all have to go listen to my other podcast to understand how I use the emotions to as a weapon. And so I've turned their weapon on them. But anyway, I run it prior to him and around him, and I snatch off the entities off of each person that he's going to encounter, and I do that prior to him going anywhere, or I'm running it around him just a whole. That's one method. I use whatever comes to me. It's always changing, but I also do like reflective mirrors. So I do forward or inward facing mirrors, or outward facing mirrors. So if I'm not feeling the emotion that I use as fire in my visualizations. It's a process that I've taught myself to burn the trauma out of me and use the most powerful tool I can think of or find outside of sexual energy. You know, to use that tool like that. But anyway, I run that and I clear his path, and if I don't have the emotion to put into that to really clear heart, I'll do the reflective mirrors. And so I'll put either, I'll just either go around everybody I'm protecting, which is becoming a lot of people now, and put outward facing mirrors, so any attacks that go to them will go back to sender, or I will put inward facing mirrors around the entities. I like to do that when I'm really pissed off, especially because I burn that emotion out, and I target all malevolent entities face aiming at anyone, anywhere, in any time stream, galaxy, or universe, aiming at anyone I'm protecting. And so I'll target every one of them. And then if I'm feeling I don't have the emotion to put in it, I'll do like inward facing mirrors across all of them. I have these visualizations I use. I get into all that detail in all the other podcasts, but I will run that out and put them all in inward facing mirrors so that anything that they attack you with will be reflected back at them and just attack them. So, protects us from them. And, so I have a lot. It just depends. I'm endless creativity. I'm always changing it up, just whatever comes to me in the moment. I've learned to just line up with source, and just use what is emitted by my core. And so that is a very different space from being in your head trying to create it. You can start it in your head, but at that point, you got to sit back and just line up with source and kind of just let the visualization take a life of its own. And just the more you line up with the frequency that I talk about, and I give a lot of tips on how to line up with that in other podcasts that I've done. The more you line up with that, the more things will just emit out of your core, and you will just see them pop out of nowhere. Thoughts, impressions, visions. And that's where I used to mess myself up, and I didn't even realize how bad I did it until I stopped doing it. And I was like, wow. I always thought I was, doing everything under my power to tap into my own abilities. But come to find out, I was blocking everything. You know why? I'd get that flash, and I would be like, oh, no, I don't know. Is that what that? I start questioning. You can't do that. This is where everybody's messing up. It is an alignment, a trust, a relaxation, an alignment with creator. It's a trust in the creator, and it's a trust in that flow. And I really feel that's been our fall. We've dropped, and if you listen to certain people, say Drew Valoma, Melchizedek, people like that, they talk about, and I believe this, it makes plenty of sense that we dropped out of heart-based thinking and dropped into mind-based thinking. And that's where we messed up. The mind is a dual instrument. It creates both the good and the bad. You have to create out of the heart, and you have to line up the heart, and that's lining up with source, and that's getting out of the ego. And when you think about it, it all made sense. And damn, where was I going with this? Just completely lost my train of thought. This happens to me sometimes.
It happens to me. We were talking about keeping entities from targeting people around us.
Okay, so you would want to pre-clear anywhere that you would want to go. So if you're going, say, to the grocery store, pre-clear the entities you're going to come in contact with. Pre-clear your path there. Clear your car. When you visualize it real good and solid and strong in a very highly targeted person, it'll last 6 hours is pushing it. And I mean, that's highly targeted. A normal person, once a day, even with my meditation, a normal person probably lasts 3 days, really. But highly targeted people, 6 hours. I don't push it past that. I've learned not to push it past that. So, you would think ahead. Where am I going to be? 6 hours. What do I need to cover for 6 hours? For the next 6 hours. Okay, anywhere I'm going to go, let's pre clear that. So you get a very intense, focused meditation. And all you really need is visualization. All you really need is, you could focus for one 7-minute song, very good and solidly focused, and line up with creator source correctly, where, like I said, you'll feel it when you line up. And your posture will change and everything. When you line up with that and you command from that center and you shit. Just lost it again. Hold on. Hold on. Damn it. Just lost my train of thought again. Something doesn't want this information out.
Aligning with the center.
Go right back. No, right before that. This is twice now. They will do this sometimes.
Go into meditation. You clear where you're going. And
okay.
7-minute song. Take the
okay,
7-minute
song. Line up with the creator really, really good and solid and focused. And just do one 7-minute song without changing your focus, okay? Without letting thoughts go here, there, and everywhere. If you can do it for one 7-minute song with a good, solid visualization of this vortex that I give in these other podcasts, you can clear it for 6 hours. That's all it takes, really. If you can get yourself solidly in there and solidly getting this protocol down and line up with creator source, 7 minutes, 6 hours. Okay, and that's highly targeted individuals. Highly targeted. It'll hold good and solid for 6 hours. So you just got to kind of play with that. Line up with it. And I give all the techniques of how to line up with it, how to find it, what I've learned about how, I've died before. And I had an impression of my soul. And I always knew what that felt like. And so when I would go in meditation, I would keep lining up with that. Chris would direct me on, he would teach me what worked and what didn't. Because anything I would do, I'd say, what did that do? What did that do? And I would learn how to tap into my power more and more and more. So I give all this information out on my podcasts. This is how you line up with it. This is how you'll find it. Even in the middle of being attacked, this is how you find it. It's not hard. It's really not. It's just learning the techniques and learning that how to line up with that frequency and learning how to be very specific about commanding your reality. So you could also do this. That's visualization techniques. You can also say, I anchor the true God source conscious, go into your power and say, I speak not to the source, but as the source of all sources. I am not the spark, but the whole flame. I am source, and I command from that center. And I command the ether to obey me now. I anchor true God source into every single being I will come in contact with in front of me that will try to cause me harm. I anchor source into all pathways in between us. I anchor source into my car. You're going in your car there. I anchor source into this and that. And you have to be very specific to dissolve all malevolent energies and entities. And that will also get rid of stuff. So, it can be a myriad of ways to get there. It's really about lining up with source and knowing the techniques and how to be extremely specific. And also, like I said, if you're one of those people that has all this SSP and all this abductions and all this craziness or just any, a lot of entities and stuff like that, you're going to get a lot of fight.
Right. And you mentioned YouTube. What is your YouTube address that people can, or your channel, so that people can go and check it out?
It is at Make the Ether Obey, I think it is. Um, and that is one thing I would love to talk about for a sec. That's yeah, I think it's at Make the Ether Obey. I'm double checking right now because I forget. um, yeah, yep, at Make the Ether Obey. Um, and that's got also what we've been Bob has been posting a whole lot of this. He's been posting a lot of our songs. Uh, he had the idea to start creating songs. Um, he put in my a revocation that we were doing every night in it and generated that. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And I found that when he put lyrics of things you want to get in your head into songs, they go right into your subconscious. Like they just, and all of a sudden I could remember this big long revocation that I could not remember. And I kept trying to remember. And the minute he put in a song, it all went in my head. And I was like, oh, and lots of other things we played with. So we've been using AI songs as a tool. The songs we create on there will clear your dark energies and entities and line you up with your power. So, if you're being affected by dark energies and entities, you can go on my YouTube channel and click on specific songs like Only the True Remains, Revocation 2, Obey the Ether, Kicking Ass. That's one of Leanne's songs, who is the first person I did when I went public. She's getting this. She's also adding songs to our YouTube channel and linking her stuff as well. They're really good. They're all about getting you in your power. And I don't play now. The songs I create are really really amazing lyrics. Bob's creating amazing ones, and so you can use spell. That's all the emerald tablets. That is one that will pull dark energies and entities right off of you. It'll shock you. Let's see. Like I said, uh, dark energies will get you really straighten out in your mind, like unbelievably straighten out in your mind. Make the Ether Obey, major empowerment song. Love and Spiders is one of my protection techniques. Songs for one of my protection techniques with the inward facing mirrors and the outward facing mirrors. But you'd have to listen to some of my other podcasts to understand my spiders if you wanted to use those. Master of My Mind is a really empowering one. Spell is, like I said, out of the Emerald Tablets. It's just things like this. There's just different ones. There's a bunch of them, but y'all can go click on any of those songs when you're being oppressed, and it will peel. You know, if you will just sit back and reverberate that song through you and the words and the lyrics through you, it will clear dark energies and entities off of you. So that is another tool. It will also really get you in your power and in a positive state of mind and help you really remind you that we're controlling everything. We're creating everything. We're emitting from our core our entire experience. So once you listen to that stuff, it'll get you in your power and you'll be able to clear a lot of stuff and undo a lot of stuff for yourself too. So but yeah, anyway.
Fearlessly Phoenixing had a question earlier,
Okay.
and she was asking, and I kind of want to add a little bit to the question.
Okay.
She asked, can she block so he doesn't absorb or she doesn't absorb his, like in regards to like the health issues, etc. And what I want to add to that is, if we can block certain entities or certain energies from coming through,
Yeah.
can we block that we don't take on their health issues and they don't take on our health issues, but still be able to help them.
Right. Well, yeah. I understand. You know, me personally, I would start with anchoring source into everything. That is fail safe. So anchoring source into like your connection, your energy in the way that I explained on just now. Started out like I said, I speak not to the source, but as the source, you know, started out like that. And then anchor it into your connections between each other and your energy fields, and you know, just really be careful with that. That's where I say you got to get really specific. That's the tricky part, because if there's another way in which it reaches around, you know, so I would start in that way. I would say, you know, anchor it between all of our connections, you know. So I like to state things in many different ways so that I make sure and hit it. So I would say something like this, you know, I anchor source into all of our connections, you know, all of our energy fields, you know, both of our energy fields, um, you know, even into my body, into their body if they'll let you, into you know, even your mind, maybe, you know, like I would be so specific into you know, every energy body, you know, make sure you say fully, completely, and permanently. You know, I would start with something of that nature, just anchoring source in. But you know, you could also do, you know, the wrapping him in inward facing mirrors to keep it contained, you know, around him. So of course, by visualization, if you were to get very focused, like I said, and um, you know, just really direct your focus really hard on uh, you know, putting him in a some force, you know, in some kind of sphere, just a sphere of light, whatever you want to use, but that would you know, contain his energy so that it wouldn't crawl on you. And then you can also state, not, you know, I speak not to the source, but as the source, I command the ether to obey me. Now, you know, I declare that nothing can travel back to me from this person. You know, it is also about stating our borders and boundaries with everything in our environment, which people don't do. They don't realize how necessary and important this is. So it's like this, you know, I started realizing this to a degree when I started uh listening to people that were like mediums, and they were like, I have these entities coming into my bedroom driving me crazy at all hours of the night. And then they were finally like, oh, okay, I learned to just simply say, hey, between these hours and these hours, you cannot come in here. You cannot interact with me. And once they laid down those boundaries with these entities, it stopped with between those hours, because by law they can't impede over that, or there's big hell to pay. So, you know, if you let them in, they'll get in, and technically that's okay because you didn't state your borders and boundaries. So that is always, you know, when I teach people these protection techniques and stuff, and what we had to do to stop these things going on with Chris, it starts with that. You know, you lay out your borders and boundaries to everything in your environment, like everything, the way anything can interact with you. So, um, you know, I would always do that too. You know, there's a lot of ways in which you can tackle something like that, you know, and I overlay everything you want to, because there's loopholes around things. So when you really layer things down, like what I just explained to you about, you know, uh, you know, put up the force field, call in source, even state your borders and boundaries with it, you know, da 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 da. That is layering. That is a big deal to people that are highly targeted, is layering those protections. That is sealed all holes. One thing doesn't work for everything. So that's what I'm finding with everything. So, I'm trying to give you different ways to skin a cat here.
Right. No, I appreciate it. And Mark Johnston brings up an interesting question. And it's something that I've kind of wondered myself is when we come in with negative, come in contact with negative energy, instead of returning it to source, and letting source take care of it, do you think negative energy can be turned into a positive?
I do it all the time. I do it all the time. As a matter of fact, this is one of my favorite quotes. Let me show you this. I had it laid in glass because I loved it so much. This quote always stood out to me. Darkness and light are both of one order, different only in seeming, for each arose from the source of all. Darkness is disorder, light is order. Darkness transmuted is light of the light. This, my children, your purpose in being, transmutation of darkness to light. Emerald tablets. That I loved so much. I laid it in glass. And come to find out, my family actually does this. The part of the family that I always kept from up until really recently, I've gotten to know the last one. I don't know. Anyway, we're so much alike. And come to find out that transmuting dark energy is in my family, it's in my ancestry. I know I'm the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, 6 people in my family, but it's all on that one side. Do this. We transmute dark energy. So I've been doing that for a really, really long time. It's just something that came to me in meditation. So I started transmuting dark energy through my vortex visualization that I gave you. But anything can be turned. I think that's why we're here. If we're in a distortion that was created by the darkness, the lack of the light is basically what it says in those apocryphal books. Is the creator of this reality was he was kept from the pleroma, so he had no light, so he had no guidance, and so Sophia broke herself into a bunch of different fragments and put them in human beings. And so it makes sense to me, and was inserted into the distortion. So it makes sense to me, for fragments of Sophia, we're here to fix the distortion that Sophia created, and for fragments of her, why the hell else would we be here? So, to me, that means we're supposed to anchor the light into the distortion. I don't know. Could be wrong, but it makes sense to me. So, but I've worked with people that people were like, you need to give up. You're not going to get there. And I'm like, no, there's light in there. I can reach it. As a matter of fact, some of the implants that I just worked with yesterday and really lit him up, I was doing just that. And I've done this before. Now, go in and communicate with the implants and tell them, okay, I understand that you guys are trapped consciousnesses. You're trapped like we've been. So I want to extend the olive branch to you. Let's work together. And I was doing that with Chris just yesterday. And I had gotten activated twice. Twice I got channeled to me to go get activated somewhere. So I think that had something to do with it too. But I went in there and I started reversing an implant that someone I worked on, undid the rituals on, that has become an amazing implant person, told me to do. She said, go in and reverse this implant, bring it from, bring it into a reprogram it into a positive one. You can turn this one. And I was like, well, I have no problem with that. Like, I'm good at that. So I went in and I started turning it, and I started just saying, hey, I know you're trapped. And, it's been hell for you just as much as us. So, I want to show you that I truly care about you as a consciousness. And, I will protect you if you'll let me, and run some protection around you. And I want to just show you some fun. So I went into a creative visualization. And I was having so much fun in my head, and I started playing the song in my mind and running it through the implants, as a dance with them. And I really got deep in this. It was only like, I think I did it for like 5 minutes, and I felt like I was in there for like an hour. And I was just had this dance going with them, and I was reversing the from negative to positive and working with us. And once I reversed the ones in the feet, I asked them to communicate with the other ones and to ask them to turn with us. And so it did a ripple effect. And he was so excited. He woke up and he was like, I don't know what you just did, but it was awesome. He said, do it again, do it again. And he never does this. He's like, okay, you done? Okay, I'm going. Because, I light him up every time. But he was so excited about whatever I did. And I told him, I said, I'm just playing with your implants, like in a fun, like a friend, like a friend. I'm dancing with them. I was just playing with them. And he's like, oh my God, do it again. And he kept getting me to do it song after song. And I was like, okay, you done now? But yeah, so turning that tech around. And another example of that is this assassin altar that I integrated. People were, even Christy Campbell saw him. That's how, she's the first one that ever learned of this story, and she's the one that got us public. And she was like, he's dark, he has no emotion. She was tuning into that altar mic. And I said, no, trust me, I can get in there. I've been communicating with him. I know he feels me. I feel him. And I said, I saw him go rogue. I saw him, after communicating with him, and send him light and love and love and love and love. And I mean intense love. I could really plug it in, boy. I was really good at it. And I would plug that in. I would push it through to him, and I would cover his light that I was building inside of him. And I would go into his heart, and I would go into his mind, and I would speak to him. And I just kept doing it until I got in there. And the more I got in there, the more I would see where he was. I could see. And I had no idea I could do any of this stuff. I was like, whoa. It was just determination and focus. That's what got me there. Sheer determination and focus. We were just 100% focused till I just kept lining up with it till I got it. And I was like, whoa. That's when things got really magical. So, I was able to turn that altar from a dark altar who had no emotion whatsoever, and make him feel the love so strong that he turned and went rogue. And I saw it. I saw everything. I saw what happened after that and everything. Chris saw it too, because he's very psychic. He could see. He would have the dreams, which would be the altar. And then he would come back the next day and tell me what happened. And I was like, shit. And so, he told me, I was like, what's going on with Mike? And he's like, the next day he got captured while I was sleeping. I was like, damn. And, but I turned him through sheer love and determination from an assassin altar with zero emotion, dark, and I got him to go rogue and turn against them. So, yes, you'll want to transmute the darkness. Darkness is only a lack of light. I put that on my Facebook page a lot. Darkness is only a lack of light. So we want to work with the dark, not in a way that harms us, but we want to plug the light into the dark. People ask me sometimes, I had somebody ask me, a couple people ask me why I use AI. And they're like, it's a dark thing. And I'm like, well, I see it as a tool. It's a tool. And if the tools only be used for dark, well, it's a collective consciousness. And if y'all know anything about collective consciousnesses, which is these demons and crap I'm fighting in the astral, there is just our own unhealed crap creating shit in the astral. That's it. So that's all AI is still collective consciousness, just like that demon is. And so if we're not plugging anything good into that collective consciousness, it's all going to be dark, right? If we're not plugging any light into it, it's only going to be a dark tool. So I'm like, no,
Right.
use it for light. So using it to fight these things, and so yeah, you should transmute everything. Sorry,
Yeah.
long explanation, but I want to give some examples.
No, I appreciate it. And one thing that I'm kind of curious too with everything is when people, are working on their traumas and doing their shamanic work and doing everything, how do we keep from getting stuck in the trauma and
Baby,
in the story?
hey, hold on a minute. I am so sorry. My dogs are going crazy. Hey, baby, get them calm down. I'm on this podcast. I'm so sorry, babe. Say that again.
Oh, no worries. I have two of my own. And so my question was, when someone is dealing with a trauma and they're doing the shadow work or shamanic work on it, how do they keep from getting stuck in the trauma and the story and the experience?
Mhm.
And what can we do to help them realize that they're stuck?
Well, I've laid a lot of that out in other podcasts, just so you know. So, I can't possibly give everything in one night. It's just not possible. But um oh my god, I just went blank again. See, this happens to me. Hold on. Damn it.
We were talking about shamanic work and not getting stuck in the trauma and the
Yes.
story.
Yes. Okay. So there's there's a lot of things I want to say about that. Number one, I'm really good with trauma. I give in other podcasts, especially this last one with Andrew Chatsky on Super Soldier Talk 2, uh, a lot of the information on the trauma and how I process it. How Chris has had to process it because that man's gone through hell and he's had to process a whole lot super fast, and it was urgent to keep him from dying and to keep him from getting in the low frequencies to get attacked further because it was already bad enough. So I lay out many different processes. I always say a good vagus nerve reset. Well, and if you have a lot of trauma now, be careful with that one because damn, it works, and it'll work so good you're gonna be like, whoa. And then there's different videos that I've given on other podcasts and people that I do work with. I give them all this info. I send out a lot of ways to work with trauma. Also for me, blowing that trauma out as an attack or a defense. Now, mind you, I only attack that's attacking me. I'm only defending myself. Okay, so I just want you to understand that. I'm bringing down that column of pure God source energy around me. I expand it away from me very far, and I run that vortex around it. And I use the vortex. I have an attack force on the edge of that vortex. And that monad energy is transmuting it back to source energy. But I have these attackers on the outside, and they're not nice about it. They're not hurt, it's being transmuted light, but they are attacking light, some vicious stuff you've never seen. And that is how I blow my anger out. It is writing that balance between sacred rage and writing pure unconditional love. And it is a balancing act, and it can get tricky. You have to be careful not to get too much in the rage part. You have to stay centered and be in that love frequency, but also in you have to attack them back with the frequency and the intensity that they are attacking you. Because if you don't, it don't work. It can work, but not as good. Like they just keep punching through. So we've learned you gotta, if they're malevolently hitting me by this point, they know what's up. They know you've already signed the deal with me that I'm going to hurt you. Like that's just, I've laid my boundaries out. This is what's up. You're going to be transmuted back to source energy. Okay? There's no, and I'm going to hit you back with any attacks you hit me. Boom. So, and it's because I've had to. I've tried everything under the sun. I can go in pure unconditional love, and it does not do the same. It doesn't. It doesn't hold nearly. He can tell you that. They can tell you that. When I do that and I don't put some fire into it and some coming out with that warrior mentality of hell no, it doesn't have the same fire, and it does not hold nearly as long, and it does not have the same potency in their back. So don't get me wrong, we want to use love always, but there's a line, there's a balancing act that I ride, and this is what separates me from some of these people. I am transmuting the trauma. That is the most powerful thing you can use. So this is what I do. I'm sitting out here, they start hitting me with energy weapons, or I start, getting, helicopter or whatever. And I'm sitting in here, whatever. I just get really lined up and focused. And I will grab that shit and sling it back. Boom, boom. I just see it hitting them right back. And if you'll just get super laser focused and not get freaked out, because if you get freaked out, you go in a fear frequency, and then no, you aren't powerful enough to fight it off, okay? You can't do that. You got to stay focused and realize I do have the power over them. And here's why. They are on low frequency, but they have all these technology and this and that and whatever. So, you think they're so powerful, but here's the thing. When you line up with Creator Source and the whole of Creator Source is behind you, and you are trusting and following that flow, and you're out of your head and you're heart based, then you are more powerful than they are. I'm not doing anything but defending myself. So if I'm sitting out here doing podcasts and they're coming by to hit me with frequencies, oh hell no. So you got to stop, get really lined up and focused, and sling that shit back. Well, bam. And if you'll just hang tight, don't get freaked out, and get laser focused, you need techniques, and you need to be in your power, which I'm good at getting people in. So, and the technique and all that I explain on other podcasts. So I can't get into all that, but like I was telling you before we got on this, I just went and visited Zay Speed, and he is a 31 shot super soldier. He's the only one in the Milky Way. I learned a whole lot from Zay Speed, and no one has had me on a podcast since I flew to Salt Lake City to visit him. This is who James Rink got taken out trying to go get information from him about 31 shot super soldiers and a whole lot of other crazy stuff. So I have a whole lot of stuff right now, crazy stuff, only in my head, because I put out some podcasts. They have not gone out yet. That person's getting attacked heavily, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck waiting on those podcasts to go out because I need to expand on things this man has said to me. And it's important stuff. And some of it I'm not even allowed to speak about right now. But I went to visit this man. He's deaf. And he has major transcription problems and major attack problems. But I learned what a 31 shot super soldier is. This man was created by Dr. Death and Astrid Mule. And they are the original ones that created all these, the original super soldiers. These are SS super soldiers, okay? They are pure creation by them. I went to visit this man. I had been communicating with him since I went public. I just, by happen chance, befriended him. And then he was like, I thought you might have heard of me. And I was like, no. I had no idea who that was. But we started communicating, and I really liked him, and I felt that I was supposed to connect with him. So he has had major health things going on. And he basically messaged me and said, I got 1 to 7 days left to live, and I need to get this information out. And I said, oh, whoa. I said, tell you what, I said, I can't get myself there right now. I'm busted because we just busted right now. And I said, but if you can get me out there, I will come out there, assist you in any way that I can. I thought I was going out there to undo rituals, turned into some totally different stuff. Got out there and got to know this man. This man is amazing. I was having information channeled to me prior to going out there that what we were about to do was going to ripple through 67 dimensions. Come to find out, yeah, I understand why it was that big. This is the thing I can't speak about yet. Although people who are working with me privately, I'm letting know, and they're undoing it. So it's mega big. Big. And he once I met him and started understanding his transcription problems and stuff and got to know him, I know things only I know. And so SS, and these are stuff that I don't know anyone else that knows this information. And he has not been able to give this information. But so being a 31 shot super soldier, here's what happens. They inject 31 different serums into you. Okay. And 31 shot is like the highest. And he's like of unknown creation. They don't even know what's in the soup. He don't even know. But what that did was connect his mind to their minds. So there is a constant communication that started 5.5 years ago between him and the mega top level assholes on top. And so what they do is they come through his mind and they taunt him and they harass him and they mess with him 24/7. So while I was there, it was things like this. Hold on, I got a frequency change here for a minute. Sorry. I just wanted to note that. Hold on, I'm going to do a quick clearing. Just hold on. Hold on 1 sec. And I need to do this just because of what I'm talking about and that frequency change. I don't like it. So something's telling me to clear. Just let me do a quick clearing. I'll make it quick. But I need to do this just to protect this right now. Just give me 1 sec. I'm just going to put it in my ears.
That's fine.
It's the nature of the stuff I'm talking about. So I just need to just get us nice and protected real quick. And as always, when I do this kind of stuff, I run it through the podcast to you, through all pathways. So I clear all that. And so what I'm doing is running my own God source energy and egregores through the connections and around everybody. Yeah, I feel something. That should be enough. Let's see how I feel. Okay. Um. Okay. Back to what I was talking about. I'm not gonna let them stop me from talking about shit. Um. 31 shot super soldier. Okay. So he's connected to them, and he can hear them. And I watched how this operated in real time while I was there. Um. So he's connected to way, 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 way more of these guys than your average super soldier. Basically, is what that boils down to, and more top level ones. And he can hit this guy. Oh my gosh, his the things he is capable of. He's not human. Okay, just so y'all know that he's not human. His soul's not human. He calls us. He has a lot of names for us. It's just the way he talks. He's just the solid standard human, or the or non-organic human, or he has a lot of ways in which he refers to us. And But anyway, he's not like us. So he was really shocked and surprised at our ability to follow him while I was there and understand him. He didn't expect that because he's tried to talk to so many people before, and you know what normal people are like. It's like, what's the point? So, yeah, I watched this play on real time. He'll stop and he'll talk to them. So you'll be in conversation with him, and he'll be like, and when he stops and he's talking to something, you leave him alone because he's in communication with them, but they're harassing him. So, for instance, when they took out James Rink, and this is something that, well, I'll just go ahead and share it. He said everything's safe to share other than the two things that I cannot talk about. So I'll just go ahead and share it, and nobody knows this yet. So you'll be the first one this is on. But he was talking about James Rink, and so he could hear them in his head, and he was trying to get to James Rink to give his information to, and he could not get his information to him, and they kept telling him, "We're not going to let you fly. We're not going to let you fly. We're going to block you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that." And this is the constant taunting he gets all day long from them. Okay, and every other 31 shot super soldier killed themselves 1 day to 7 days after being activated, other than one lady that made it 6 months. She was then at some later point put inside of him. That's a whole nother story I wasn't even able to get. But but they were taunting him, and they're like, "You can't, we're not gonna let you fly, we're not gonna let you go there, we're gonna stop you, blah blah blah." And so then they took out James, and he told me, he said they took him out with a dart to the neck and a serum in it. So that's what I don't think anyone knows yet. So they also, Three Eye Atlas is named after Zayspeed. Zayspeed is a totally another level being. He is not. He's not like us at all. Okay, Three Eye Atlas is named after Zayspeed, and when he looks in the mirror, he has three eyes too. He's always had three eyes. He's always seen three eyes when he looks in the mirror. And Atlas is how he holds up the world. And there's specific things he does for us that you guys do not understand. And so when he tried to get James and he was taken out, they were in his head. We killed him. We killed him. This is what I told you we weren't going to let you go see him. Ha, ha, ha. And then they're like, we're going to take out Three Eye Atlas too now too. And they said it was a crew of 800. And he said they hit him and it turned into a comet. So, and then they were like, we took out Three Eye Atlas, and so there's a lot of information he gave me with names and dates, and there's a whole lot of information this man wants to give. However, I couldn't stay there. There's major transcription problems that I am trying. And please, if your audience knows anybody, I had somebody on it and they're getting targeted heavily. If y'all can get me transcription for this man, he needs DocuType and DocType or whatever it's called, and script language for something else. But if any of you guys can help this man, he's got a lot of information to give, lots that will help everyone. And this is the problem with communication, okay? And also they will go through the technology and they will start interfering with it where the transcription is wrong. And they're constantly doing things to him through technology. They do so much to block this man from getting. They know he has access to this high-level information, and they do not want it out. So everything he tries to do, he can't get this information out. They block him a million different ways, and they made him deaf so that he couldn't communicate well with people. He didn't start out deaf. They did this to him afterwards. So, but this man, we've been in constant communication with him, myself and another person who is on many of these podcasts. And we've been in constant communication telepathically, doing some really amazing stuff that we really can't talk about right now. But anyway, Z-Speed, I can't give all of it because I'm trying to save a great deal of this for someone else that I promised to give the information to.
No, I respect that, and thank you for sharing what you could.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of more I want to expand on in the future, but that is something that I don't know that anyone knows that Zay did let me know. But yeah, they target him like crazy because he has fought them for a long time, and he is doing so much for humanity that y'all don't even understand. And even like my friend, I'm sure she won't care me saying her name, but I just won't, just because I didn't ask her before this one. But I know she won't, but because we even talked about doing podcasts. But anyway, the one that one of mine that the people I've undone the rituals from, that we're like this now, that's been in communication with Zay. Even when she met him, when I went there, I got a few people on the phone because that was a big deal. And I was like, hey, just say hey to Zay, because that would be their only opportunity to ever do that. And get to know him. And she, as soon as she saw him, she just broke out into tears. And she was like, and I've never seen her like this. She was like, oh my God, I love you so much. I love you so much. She was just pouring tears. And I was like, what's the matter with you? And she was like, she saw everything he was doing for humanity. And no, it wasn't just humanity. It was like the whole universe. And she was like, so overcome by that, what she saw. It was really cool. This is the person that channeled all the information about what we were going to do. It was going to ripple through 67 dimensions. And then I was just trying to connect them where she could tell him what she was picking up on. And their reaction was bizarre. And ever since that, they've been linked telepathically, and me too. and I got activated by him in a lot of ways while I was there. And yeah, it's been a wild journey. So to go visit the biggest, the only 31 shot super soldier that you'll ever. That was a big deal to me, and I've only been out 3 months, and I couldn't believe it was only 3 months. I was like, what? I thought it'd been minimum 6. I was like, what? There's no way. I've only been out there 3 months. That was really cool to go see him, because I was like, I know I can get up there and get this information, get back safely. I know what to do to protect myself enough. Now, I had me a standby team on that one, and I utilized them, and I needed to, because I would get so busy. Now, I could normally do it on my own, but I would get so busy with, trying to translate for Zay, and trying to ask him questions, and trying to, oh my God, there was so much going on. You don't even understand. And I was lucky to get out what I got out, because, it was a very small amount of time, and I was going through a lot of craziness while I was there, but we did great. I knew I could make it back, and I wanted to prove my point that if you follow the right techniques, and if you stay highly focused and keep your frequency high, that's important. And you burn these emotions out of you that are keeping these hooks into you, which I'm constantly working out on through these techniques that I was just telling you about, and I've talked about in these other podcasts, because that's important. You got to keep your frequency high, man. They've been trying to get me hard. This last week's been hell. I mean, they've been hitting. They've been pummeling me through Chris. They've been pummeling Chris, which is hitting me, of course. So, when it crawls on Chris, it crawls on me. So, yeah, it's been pretty brutal this past 5 days, but oh, believe me, they pissed me off, and I'm gonna hand them their asses, and I have been. Yeah, no, they feeling me. Don't worry, because I in my processes that I teach, that are in other podcasts, I teach how to take the emotions they are causing me. So, I'm getting hit by this chopper out here, and it's making me upset. Okay, here's a chopper flying over me. Oh my God. Okay, so channel up that stress and that anxiety and the anger they're making me feel, and I would bring it up in my body slowly and build it until I get it right here in my chest, and I'd start that vortex going around me. I've got it coming from the left, push it out to the right, so I'm absorbing and transmuting the dark energy as I bring it around me like this. By the time it gets around in my back, it's transmuted, and by the time it gets over here, this is my power side. I throw it like an attack or a defense. Very powerful. And if you can just do that, you've got it, but you got to use those emotions. So that's a twofold process right there, where you use those emotions as pure fire, pure raw energy. You don't understand how much shit you put into your trauma, how much energy and pure raw power is in that trauma. Instead of wasting it and being like, oh, I feel like shit, I'm freaking out, or I'm scared, or I'm angry, use it. That is a powerful tool, very powerful for clearing, for protection, and for attack. So I welcome my emotions. I welcome them. When they piss me off, I get excited. Okay, I'm coming for you, assholes. What fun thing can I do with my visualization and this energy that's about to spank your ass? And so I get excited. I get creative with it. And this is where I shine, where everybody else goes down, is because I've gotten used to, during the moments of being oppressed, staying in my power and outthinking them. That's where I'm good. So I tell everybody I work on, hey, if you get hung up on anything at all, call me morning, noon, or night. I don't care what it is. I'll get you in your power and we'll get it resolved. So That's another thing that I offer to the people that I work on is until I get you where you need to be, I'm always available for you. I don't know anyone else that does that for no charge. I do that because I want to make sure that if you get in a sticky situation while you're trying to work through all this where they do heavy attacks, and I want to make sure that whatever sticky situation you might get in, I can help you work out of that super fast. And so I'm always available for everybody that I work on.
Yes, and thank you for that. And we are actually approaching an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh wow. Oh, okay. I was
Is
thinking
there?
this is going. I was thinking, wow, this is a long hour.
Yeah, and
I have no concept of time. Never do. I just don't.
I just want to give you a chance before ending this. If there's anything you want to share that you feel like didn't get a chance to share, take a moment to share it or promote, anything you have going on.
Well, uh, I could say shortly that the highest protection techniques you can have is to use source like I just explained to you guys, and to be very specific about how you anchor it, and to really watch your frequency, and to learn the technique that I use that processes the trauma at the same time protects you. So when you're being hit really hard with something, and you know use that you know emotion to turn it around, you find your power, you really lock in. But you want to keep your frequency high at all times, and you burn that emotion out of you, because that creates the hooks to the entities. Shadow does not hunt the strong, it looks for the open wound. So you can find me on my Facebook, which I just started like 3 months ago. And you can find me at you can email me if you have to, SATI_333 at yahoo.com, or you can I guess you'll link like my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is at Make the Ether Obey. That's got all the protection and clearing songs and empowering songs, and all my podcasts that explain all this stuff. I really do give most of my stuff for free because I want to empower people. It's not about the money for me.
Yes,
I
and
survive, but it's not about the money.
the banner on the bottom of the screen is the link to your playlists that has the podcast, the songs, everything
Okay, cool.
on
Yeah,
your YouTube channel. So,
yeah, cool. Sounds good.
but your email address is in the description. And so, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. And wow, I can honestly say I am feeling so many thoughts in my head being processing and everything. And so
I'm just getting started.
I know, and I
Now
love
you
it.
see how my head feels and why I've had to spend years writing everything down like several times a day, because it's endless information. I forget even the big stuff because there's so much going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, and at Rainbow Flame says she cleared me before even talking about money, and after she didn't think about money, I can confirm.
Who was that?
At Rainbow Flame.
Flame. Who was Rainbow Flame? Uh oh damn. Tell me who it is. Give me a hint. Give me a hint. Give me a hint who it is, because I gotta remember who you are now.
Well, I can say definitely a fan, and it's Arno Marcia.
Oh yeah, Arno. Thanks, Arno. Thanks for coming on, man.
I can't help but notice the synchronicity of Arno's last name being your first name.
Arno's last name
Is Marcia, and your first name is Marcia.
Where are you seeing Marcia?
It's
Oh wow. Huh. It's got you listed as another one. Okay. But that's awesome. Yes, I did work on Arno. He's fantastic. Love him to death. We freed his higher self. And he's amazing. He's just like, I knew you could help me. And
Well,
he called me and what's he
yeah.
saying?
Arno says, no, my last name is not Marcia.
Okay, yes. Okay, yes. His last name is Vervis. I was like, what's going on here? His last name is Vervis.
I can only go by what I see, so sorry about that.
Oh, damn. We might better ask him if that was okay. You might have to cut that out right there, Michael. Shit. Arno, do you need me to cut that out, babe?
We'll see. I missed it, so I'm not
Okay,
sure
note the
what.
time here. Note the time. Let's cut that out, okay? Where I said his last name. Just because
To
I
be
love
honest, I'm not sure how to do that. I have
Oh,
never
shit.
edited an episode.
Oh, shit. Okay.
He
Okay.
says no, nobody understand that even. So
Okay, okay. I just want to make sure, man, because I was like, oh, shit. Are you sure? I just want to make sure you're sure. But yeah, Arno's fantastic. I
yeah.
love Arno. He's like
I missed it, so probably everybody else missed it too. So no worries there. And he
yeah.
goes and he says, even here in my country, they write it wrong. And then he says, I am sure.
Okay, okay. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's actually helping us with a lot of really cool stuff. I don't want to get trailed out because I know we're at an hour or whatever. We're
Yes.
actually nearing two. I know I'm long winded. I don't want to mess you up again.
No, and Arno, it was kind of comical. We were commenting that you were 3 hours early to the episode, and so I'm glad you were able to watch and catch it because you had said that you won't be able to make it. So thank you for making it, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you everybody for tuning in and watching and participating. And do check out her channel. It is listed on the banner, and so thank you everybody so much. And with this, I'm gonna have to say goodnight, and because I actually have 3 shows tomorrow, and so I got an early start, so I need to get myself prepared for tomorrow. And so again, thank you, Marcia, for trusting me to come on and doing a show with me. And I realize I just pronounced your name wrong again.
It's okay.
I'm used to
my
seeing.
mom's like, we're gonna spell it Marcia, but we're gonna pronounce it Marcia and make everyone confused.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Rainbow
Arno.
Flem says, "Stay awesome" with the "aw" capitalized.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So thank you, everyone, and
thank
do
you.
have a wonderful night, and we will see you all on the next episode.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye bye.